How can I manage the resentment my girlfriend, 25 female, and I, 42 male, have for each other? I know I'm going to get a lot of poop for the absurd age gap and the way we started. And I agree and I deserve it, but I would really like some genuine advice past going to counseling. She won't agree and I can't afford it anyways. Tangible things that I can work on and introduce to help us G this either as a couple or as effective co-parents. Long story short, my ex-wife and I were together since middle school. We have 4 daughters in their teens. I was a sahad and part-time worker for most of my life until my youngest was in middle school. My ex agreed to invest in a passion project business of mine. I hired a receptionist. We started an affair and she baby-trapped me. Now we're living together and have a young son. She resents me because she feels she was fooled. She saw me as a business owner who had a nice car, nice clothes, took her to nice places, etc. She thought I was rich, so she got pregnant on purpose. Admitted it, not an assumption, hoping to use me to not work and sponsor her family from overseas. Well, actually, my ex-wife and her family are the rich ones. None of our homes were in our names. We were renting from her parents and giving them a nominal fee with the expectation that these homes would be left to my ex and me after their death. This allowed my ex's salary, $150, not huge in the high coal area, to stretch, and we lived a really good life. I left our marriage with half our savings, 2025 and my personal property and car. I lost my business due to lack of funding and I did not seek alimony. I resent her because I feel I was fooled. I thought she loved me and couldn't believe the interest a young, hot woman showed in me. She was incredibly persistent and pursued me strongly, but she has no feelings for me, no care or desire. Now that the ruse is dropped, I can't believe I gave up my entire life for what I see was an ego trip. I loved my ex-wife. Really, I did and still do, but I had never been with another woman and any attempt to open our relationship were shot down. This was like a wet dream come true, and I was weak. Now, both me and my GF are in a place we didn't imagine. She's living in a poopty apartment with an old man and still has to work. I've lost my kids, the love of my life, my family, my lifestyle, my business, and it's all 100 my own fault. She stopped being intimate with me as soon as she found out I wasn't rich. We're still together on my end because I feel like I need to have something to show for this poop show of a situation. At least I got a son and a partner out of it. At least it wasn't for nothing. And also because I don't trust her with our son. She would never agree to give me full custody and she's not a good mother. I would be worried for his safety and the people she would have him around. I honestly don't know why she hasn't left me from her end. What can I do to improve this situation? I know logically it would be best to break up and co-parent, but I'm afraid for my son and I'm embarrassed for myself. Is there a way to salvage this situation? I'm thinking of just telling her we can have an open relationship. She can sleep with whoever she wants and go wherever she wants as long as she lives here so I can have my son 100 of the time. I work from home. I don't know if that's the answer here though. To first update it. I had an affair. My ex-wife divorced me and my kids absolutely refused to speak to me. I was an incredibly involved dad. Most of their lives I worked 1-2 days a week and then stayed home with them the rest. I was closer to them than their mom and I'd like to think I've never disappointed them before this. I made a mistake. It's been over 2 years since it all came out and I haven't been able to make any headway. My eldest is hung up on the fact that I now have a young son. Every firstborn of each generation in my family has been a boy for a long time, and she broke the streak. I honestly could not care less about that. I've always thought that pressure was stupid, and I'm not a traditionally masculine guy that always wanted a boy. But she's so hurt that I have a son and is convinced that's all I've ever wanted, and he's replaced her and my daughters. None of that is true. All of my girls said they don't consider themselves to have a brother and want nothing to do with him. All 4 of them feel betrayed and blame me for breaking up our family. I deserve the blame. It's my fault, and I take responsibility. But I can't change the past, and I don't know how I can begin making up for it. My ex has full custody of them. but I'm supposed to have visitation one weekend a month. They're all in therapy, and it was suggested to not enforce the visitation and respect their boundaries while they work through it. I've done that the entire time, and there's no progress made. Does anyone have any suggestions about what I can do here? My ex absolutely hates me, but was always supportive of the girls staying in contact with me. She's respected their wishes, but still gives me updates once in a while. My eldest is turning 18 soon and graduating this coming year and probably moving away for university. I feel like the time to make up with her especially is slipping away. I know I'm the poopty person here. I was a terrible husband, but I was honestly a really good dad, and I miss my girls. Has anyone been through something like this? How did it turn out? What are your suggestions? Chooser asked Oop if he fought for custody. Oop, I did fight for custody, but they were all old enough that the court considered their preference and the situation and only granted me visitation. A part of that was also because I didn't have the means to get a place large enough for all 4 girls, my son, my girlfriend, and myself. I still don't have room for them in my current apartment, and being a mostly say did not give me the experience education to get a good enough job to support them here. If I had the choice, I would have chosen my ex and family over my affair partner. Chooser asked Oop if his app is his son's mother. Oop, she is. I got baby-trapped during the affair, something she admitted, which I know makes this much worse. I think I could have maintained a relationship with my girls even after the divorce if I didn't have to stay with my app and didn't have a new baby. Chooser tells Oop that he abandoned his family for a girl half his age, so he couldn't expect them to want anything to do with them. Oop, I didn't abandon them. I didn't leave my family for my GF. I wanted to stay with my girls and my ex and work this out. My ex refused because the girls already knew about the affair and it wouldn't be setting a good example, and there was going to be another child involved that she wanted nothing to do with. But to be clear, I would have stayed with my family after the affair if given the choice. The affair was a stupid mistake born out of curiosity since my ex was the only woman I've ever been with. It was not something I was committed to or wanted to continue long term. Chooser asks Oop if he and his ex had a conversation about exploring their S-timuality and why did he sought the affair. Oop, I brought this up before and we did have honest conversations about it. We'd been together since middle school and had been each other's first and only. She loved that. She had no curiosity about other people and thought it was special that we'd only had time with each other. And she is a very monogamous person in general, couldn't even handle the thought of me being with someone else. If I wanted to be with someone else, it would have to be as a single man. I didn't seek an affair. My GF pursued me strongly and it just happened. She got pregnant quite early into it. I didn't really plan on anything. Top response for this comment? Just happened, huh? You accidentally fell into her vagina? Chooser asks Oop why won't he not separate from his app. Oop, I have to stay with her because she's a bad mother and I don't trust her with our son. If we split up, then she would have him at least 50 of the time. I would have left a long time ago if not for that. The second update. Good news. My girlfriend and I have broken up. She has gone back to her home country and left my son with me. Refused to sign any formal custody agreement, so I'm hoping she stays there and doesn't bother us again. I'm pretty sure if she comes back and demands time with him, I have a good case for maintaining custody. She's not even interested in FaceTiming with him, so he remembers her. I feel bad that my son will deal with a puopty absent mother, but I hope I can get him into therapy as he grows. Bad news. I've tried my best to insist on visitation with my daughters, and that has fallen through. They absolutely refused to see me. They wrote me a letter together that says how much they hate me, how betrayed they feel, how they'll never forgive me, and how my son will never be their brother. To not even bother telling him about them because they'll never be interested in knowing him. Just to forget about them altogether and move on with my new family. I have no legal recourse. The youngest is 13 now, old enough to have a say in custody arrangements. And I don't think forcing them to see me would do me any favors long-term anyways. They also included pictures of their mother's wedding. My ex has no obligation to tell me about her personal life, but I'm pretty pissed that there is a man living with my daughters that I didn't know about. It is a family friend that has been in their lives 10 years. So, not a total stranger, but still hurt to see pictures of their recent wedding and family pictures with my daughters. They mentioned that they have a father figure and don't need me anyways. The whole thing really hurt. I know I have no right to feel hurt that my ex has moved on when I cheated on her, but their whole relationship has moved very fast, so I'm now wondering if they started it before we got divorced. No way to know now. Doesn't matter anyways. My ex agreed to keep me up to date and send pictures of my daughters once in a while. After dealing with my son's mom, I'm grateful she is so good to our girls, and I don't have to worry about their well-being. I'm trying to focus on being a good dad to my son and patiently waiting for my girls to grow up and reach out. It may never happen, but I'm hopeful that they will understand me more as they become adults and gain context for life. Top comment on this post. Man ruined his whole life to get his D wet for 5 minutes. Story 2. I told my fiancée that I don't really want to marry her anymore. My 26th fiancée Sarah, 24th, and I are set to get married in 3 months. We were visiting a botanical garden yesterday when Sarah pointed out a flower called the Arabian jasmine, a little white flower with a nice scent. She said that her cousin Stephanie had those at her wedding. I asked if it was the same Stephanie that would be in attendance with her husband at our wedding, and she said it was. Sarah and Stephanie are apparently pretty close, and she started telling me about Stephanie and her husband. At one point, she told me that Stephanie had actually cheated on her husband twice before they got married, and that the second time was a couple of months before the actual wedding. Her husband never found out. I asked her why she never told Stephanie's husband what happened, and she responded by saying that it wasn't Ihara Circus, wasn't on Hara Circus, wasn't an Harrow Monkeys, and that it's not that big of a deal anyway since they weren't married at the time. I've been thinking about what she said ever since. I consider cheating the ultimate worst betrayal in a relationship. Clearly, my fiancée doesn't think so, since she said her cousin cheating wasn't that big of a deal since they weren't married. Would this mean that she thinks cheating on me right now wouldn't be that big of a deal since we aren't married yet? As a man, if I got cheated on by my partner, I hope someone who knew about it would tell me. I would heavily judge anyone who knew about it, didn't tell me, let me go on to marry the person that cheated on me, and attended my wedding as if nothing was wrong, like my fiancée did to her cousin's husband. A couple hours ago, I texted my fiancée, I'm not sure if I can go forward with getting married. Let's talk in person later tonight. She's been blowing up my phone with texts and missed calls ever since. I'm just going to tell her what I've said in this post when I see her. Story 3. My girlfriend of 5 years wants to explore her option. Me, 22, and my girlfriend, 21F, have been dating for around 5 years. We are both in college and started dating when she was 16 and I was 17. She was diagnosed with depression and used to talk to a lot of guys when we weren't together. She liked tall and hairy guys, and I'm neither, so this experience has brought back my insecurities when I was younger. She recently told me guys were hitting on her in her workplace and that she liked the attention a couple of months before this. Didn't exactly say that, but it was something along the lines of that. So I gave her even more attention and tried to please her even more attention and tried to please her in that area. She just told me that she wants to explore her options since she's still young. She told me something along the lines of she's unsure if she's gonna regret not exploring her options and how she feels trapped, asked me how I know I'm not going to regret it either. I thought our relationship was going great. I communicate with her during S time, ask how she's doing and how I can improve myself and our relationship. She's smiled with me, laughed with me. We went out to so many places together that we both picked out. We shop, we have passionate kisses. We have inside jokes, and even though she's not perfect, I still work it out with her because in my mind, there's no one I'd rather be with. God. We had so many anniversaries. We gave each other presents every holiday or special occasion. I've been with her through the lowest of lows. It feels like everything we've had together was just a lie, so she could stop being lonely, but I hope that's not the case. I've been running and jogging outside for 2 hours. As of typing this, I'm in my backyard, laying on the grass, listening to That's All I Got by Justice Xavier, looking at the sky, wondering what I did wrong. I'm crying, not knowing if I'm worth loving anymore. I'm angry because I feel so pathetic and worthless. It literally felt like someone stabbed me through the heart. Should I let her go explore her options? Whatever that means? Should I fight for our relationship? Should I let her know how I feel? I'm so lost. Update. My girlfriend of 5 years wants to explore her option. Kite to breakups at the end if you want. Okay, want to preface by saying, I don't think it's her fault. I don't totally believe it was my fault either, though. I didn't do anything inherently wrong. Maybe I just wasn't in a good mental state because of stuff going on in my life. She had her issues too, but who doesn't? I didn't abuse her or anything. Maybe I was just mope and depressed, or maybe we were just too young. Anyways, she cheated on me and went on a date with a male coworker of hers 3 times. It's been around 2 months since we broke up. I gave her a second chance after she cheated, but basically I asked if she could be loyal to me and she said no. I'm not going to lie to you. It was devastating. Like, I didn't know how much of my life revolved around her until we broke up. I think I was dependent on her, and that was one of the many reasons why it didn't work out. I may have said some things I regret, like telling her I'd miss her and paragraphs on how I respect her wishes and wish her well and how I love her, blah, 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 blah. But I wanted to write this when I was in a good state of mind. Man, I remember coming home after the breakup and just breaking. Like I saw my mom put on the strongest poker face I could muster, and she asked what was wrong, and I couldn't hold it in and just broke down. I cried like a motherfucker, and me and my mom had a heart-to-heart moment and just talked for hours. Most of it wasn't even about the ex, which was nice, but that was my first step to getting better. Fast forward a little bit, I start Googling how to deal with a breakup, since this is my first relationship which I had poured so much time and energy into, and a great tip was to talk to my friends. Man, I was so stupid. I finally realized after 20 years of living, I can actually talk to people about my problems. Sounds so obvious, but for some reason I never ask for help. Not for school, not at work, and certainly not in life. So I start talking to my best friend of 15 years about it. If you're reading this, I love you, man. And he was such a great help. He gave me advice, and just talking about it made me feel better. Talk to your friends about your problems, man. Open up. Asking for help isn't giving up, it's refusing to give up. Anyways, I start making new friends and being more social, especially at work. I met this new girl at work and I realized something. I'm sweating, not because I like her, but because I ran out of new topics quick. And this was weird to me because I'm usually the funny guy in social groups. But it's been a while, I guess, and I thought to myself, holy poop, I have no idea how to communicate. I have no personality. That was hard to admit. I don't have feelings for said girl, but she is literally my guardian angel. I have never felt more comfortable with a person. She's so easy to talk to, and we've gone through similar life events, even the ex part. She even put me on One Piece. Amazing show, by the way. She's literally like a more mature, wiser, slightly older version of me in a way that's almost scary. It's crazy how similar we are. I'll never forget when she asked what's wrong, and I responded with nothing. And then she looked me dead in the eye and asked, no, really, what's wrong? I love her, not romantically, and I'll always be grateful for her being introduced into my life at probably one of my low points. So anyway, I start working out fixing my diet dressing better and learning how to be more confident, and I've noticed I've gotten tons of compliments. I've gotten called cute twice and pretty once. I've gotten my outfit and cologne complimented. The recognition, for me, was strange because of me being insecure for such a long time. It kind of boosted my confidence by a bit, and I started reconnecting with my old friends, and they say I'm buff now. For some reason, I don't believe them because I got a lot more fat to burn off, but I'm working almost every day to being better than I was yesterday. I've studied philosophy and started to listen to new music and enjoy going out by myself to the city and just enjoying the calm and the quietness of it all. And I also started picking up new hobbies and going back to school. I've started to play the guitar and maybe want to start creating content or maybe even photography. Oh, and this other cute girl at work started flirting with me. She listens to the same bands and musicians I do. She asked me for my number and we text a lot. She sends me some pretty funny stuff that is slightly flirtatious. She made a comment that I got muscles and started doing these slightly flirtatious play fighting things, and she's called me cute before. Oh, and this one time I showed up to my workplace just to say hey, and when I tell you she lit up when she saw me. Man, I haven't seen anyone so happy to see me in such a long time. This was like a week ago and I still think about it. Makes my heart melt. I think it's too soon to start a relationship and I still want to work on myself, but she's tempting me for sure. So, yeah, I'm doing good. Doing way better than I have been these last 2 years, to be honest. I feel like I'm starting to understand who I really am and how far I'm willing to push my limits. I'm confident, strong, smart, passionate, intense, reliable, and funny. And for the first time in a long time, I don't need someone else to tell me that because I built that self-esteem on my own. If you're going through something similar, I promise it gets better. Just don't give up and find ways to work on yourself while you heal. Duck hating your ex. Forgive her so you can move on and just cut contact and spread love. Say hey to the people you walk by. Buy those shoes you've always wanted. Go hike that mountain solo. Compliment that cute girl's outfit. Tell your friends they're awesome. Say I love you to the people closest to you. Go to that hair salon and get a cool new haircut. Sing that song at the top of your lungs in the car. The world really is held together by the love and passion of a few people. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. Khalil Gibran, Huey Boondocks, Season 1, Episode 13. The Guide. Changing Your Mentality. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Book must read. David Goggins, Joe Rogan Podcast. Hajime no Ippo, goated anime, super motivational. Nacho Libre, funny movie but great message. Kung Fu Panda 123, great messages, hear me out. What you should do, in my opinion, cut off all ties with your ex. Block them if you need to. Delete all photos and messages. Now is the time to stop caring about what she's doing and start being more selfish. It's tough, but would you rather suffer by torturing yourself with having constant reminders of her, or suffer by moving on and picking your goals and hobbies over her? You know what has to be done. Oh, and get a gym membership. Jeff Nippard, and maybe Hamza for diet tips. On YouTube is your best friend. Helps clear your mind. The hard part isn't the workout. The hard part isn't the workout. The hard part is showing up. It gets easier. Where you're at right now does not define where you'll end up at. Goodbye, and thank you. My life isn't the same anymore, and I'm unsure of who is going to show up next. But what I do know is that we have to be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on. We're not here forever. I don't think I'll be using this account again. Maybe I'll stop by and say hello after I get married or something, who knows. To the person who spread my last post over a Minecraft parkour video with text to speech audio over it on TikTok, thank you. This post has reached around 500,000 interactions on Reddit and TikTok combined. I've read a lot of comments on all platforms, and I know a lot of you are struggling too. I promise it gets easier and your mentality will get stronger. But remember, nothing changes if nothing changes.